poetry. So poetry comes from the Greek word poesis, meaning to make, and poetry is a specially crafted arrangement of words designed to highlight rhythm, rhymes, and non-standard word orders. And then poetry is usually used to communicate about ideas, feelings, places, people, and events. Next. So the next material will be presented by Kata.
Okay, the next one is physical or structure. The first one is lineation. Lineation is like a line in a poem. And then lineation has two types. The first one is injectment. Line continues to the next without a pause. So when we read the injectment, we have to read it quickly. And then the B is end stopping. Line ends with a punctuation. When we see a punctuation, we have to stop for a moment. And when we read this end stopping lines, we should read it slowly. Next. This is example for the injectment lines from Howl by Allen Ginsberg. Okay, next. And this is the example from End Stopping. And it's from I Wandered Lonely as a Song by William Wordsworth. Okay, the next is stanza. Stanza is a group of lines separated by space. So stanza is the line from the poem. And then stanza have types. The first one is couplet. Couplet is 2 lines of poetry. And this is the example from Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. And then tercet, 3 lines. And this is the example from the love song of G. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. And then we have quatrain. Quatrain is 4 lines from a poet. And this is the example in Memoriam by Alfred Lord. And then this is sestet. Sestet is 6 lines, and this is the example from A Dream Time by Robert Frost. And then we have octave. Octave has 8 lines, and the example from Anna Bowie by Edgar Allan Poe. And then we have a form. Form is a shape, or yes, it's a shape from the poet. The first one is sonnet. Sonnet is a 14-line poem, and the examples from sonnet is sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. And sonnet has a rhyme, and the rhyme is A B A B, C B C D, E F E F, D D. And then we have Villanelle. Villanelle is a 19-line poem, and the example is from Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. And Villanelle has a rhyme too, and the rhyme is A B A B, A B A, 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 A. Okay, and then this is the example from Sonnet 18, and this has 18 lines. And then Do Not Go Gentle into That Night. We have, yeah, that 19 lines. Okay, next. And then we have free verse. Free verse is a type of poetry that does not adhere to specific rhyme or scheme matter. So a free verse is we can make a poetry by ourselves, and it's free. We don't have a rules for this free verse. And the example is this is just to say by William Conway. So this free verse is more like natural conversation. So it doesn't have a rules for the pattern. Okay, this is the visual poetry. Visual poetry is literally first crafted with intentional form and hence the poem scheme. So the visual poetry, the poetry have a shape, and the shape is like wings, just like the title, Easter Wings. And you guys can see the narrowing line in the middle. The narrowing line, it's reflect to human weakness and sin, and the expanding lines in the top and the bottom
Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Then the second one is trocade measure. So trocade measure is a pattern features a stressed syllable followed by an unstressed syllable. So it goes like the sound of poetry goes like that. And the example is The Tiger by William Blake. Next. So the third one is dactylic measure. So dactylic measure is a pattern includes a stressed syllable followed by two unstressed syllable. So it goes like Dada. And for the example is The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And then the fourth one is anapestic measure. So anapestic measure is a pattern that contains two unstressed syllables followed by a stressed syllable. So it goes like that. And the example is The Destruction of Sennacherib by Lord Byron. Next. Then the second one is rhyme. So rhyme is a pattern of words that contain similar sounds or matching sounds that are close together in a poem. Then rhyme is about the repetition of the same or similar sounds, usually in stressed syllables at the ends of lines, but sometimes it also occurs within a line. So the first one is about end rhyme. So end rhyme is where the repetition of the same sound occurs at the end of lines, as you can see. Call and Pitfall, Tread and Spread from the Black Sheep by Richard Burton. Next. Then the second one is internal rhyme. Internal rhyme. So internal rhyme is the repetition of the same sound occurs within a line, as you can see from the see and he and right has the same sound. Next. Then slant rhyme. So slant rhyme is a repetition of sounds occur at the ends of lines that have similar vowel sounds but not exactly the same consonant sounds. So as you can see from grass and patch has the same vowel sound but it has different consonantal sound. Next. Then the third one is onomatopoeia. So onomatopoeia defined as a word which imitates the natural sounds of a thing. So onomatopoeia creates a sound that mimics the thing described, making the description more expressive and interesting. And here is the example from Under a Telephone Pole by Carl Sandburg. As you can see, the humming and thrumming part is a mimicry to the sound of electricity passing the wires. Then, alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the same consonantal sound in several words placed close together or stressed syllables, for example, on the same line of a poem to create an image and sound effect, either gentle or harsh. Then, alliteration is about word group where most of the words start with the same sound. Then, here's the example. Then, 5 is about assonance. So, assonance is the echoing or repetition of vowel sounds A, E, I, O, U rather than consonants. So, to create an image. And then assonance is the creation of a sound effect by combination of vowel sounds. Then here is the example, as you can see. And then 6, consonants. So consonants is the repetition of consonant sounds within or at the end of words. For the example, it's from The Tiger by William Blake. Next.
Next is figurative language. So figurative language is when words don't mean like they say. There are 4 types of figurative language. Number 1 is simile. Number 1 is simile. Simile
it's not just like mental picture. It's all about our sense, like see, smell, taste, touch, and even movement. So the word imagery is associated with mental picture. So the first one is visual imagery, the sense of sight. So it's about what we can see. And that the example, the lines, a host of golden daffodils. So the lines make us imagine a field of golden daffodils. And then auditory imagery, the sense of hearing, which is about what we hear. Gustatory imagery, the sense of taste. So it helps us to imagine taste of something. For example, this is the plums. They are delicious, sweet, and sour. Then olfactory imagery, the sense of smell. So this is about smell that help us to think different scents. For example, in the fish by the bishop, we can feel the sense of smell of fish surroundings. And then kinesthetic imagery, the sense of movement. So it's about movement or physical action. For example, I took the one last traveler's toy and that has made all the difference. So it makes us feel the sense of movement of using path and walk through it. Then tactile imagery, the sense of touch. Then the example, my lips were wet, my throat was cold. So it makes me imagine the sense of touch, wet, and cold. And the last one is organic imagery, the sense of emotion. This is the example by Sophia Tan.
So, in conclusion, learning about the key parts of poetry, how it sounds, its shapes, and the way it uses words help us better appreciate how poets can create their work. So by looking at how poets use rhythm, rhyme, and how they arrange lines and stanzas, and how they use creative language and images, we can understand how they express feelings and ideas. This makes it easier for us to enjoy and interpret poetry, showing us the special ways poets connect with our emotions and imagination. So that's all from us. Thank you for your attention. And is there any questions? Once again, is there any questions? Okay, so if there's no questions, we're gonna close the presentation. And sorry if there is any mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.